Hello, Gary Simon here of DesignCourse.com. Today is February 9th and we have a new 4-part video tutorial for you. So over the next 4 days, we are going to create a kind of like a gamer user interface type of design. First in Photoshop. So we'll have 2 parts today and tomorrow where we focus on designing this type of really cool design in Photoshop. And then the next 2 days after that, we'll get wrapped up in Photoshop and also animated in After Effects. So as always, if you need access to the project files, they're available for free in the description below this video here on YouTube. And basically you're going to need some of those files, and I've also linked a image to a background texture or metal texture rather, and that's also in the description as well. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be creating right now. So in Photoshop, let's go to File, New, and we'll just name this Gamer UI. I'm actually going to do something a little bit different than what I normally do. I'm going to specify 1280 by 720 instead of trying to fit it perfectly on my resolution. We don't want CMYK, we want that to be RGB. Background contents, I always just leave it transparent. And that is it. All right, so hit OK. And for me, this is what's going to fit, and that's 66.7%. Ideally, you'd have a larger resolution. But anyhow, so what I want to do is take the paint bucket tool, and we're just going to use like a dark blue, kind of somewhere over here. Yeah, just right around there. The color isn't too important, so whatever you want to use. So what I want to get started with is getting the actual shape constructed here. So for view, we're going to go to show grid, and then just make sure snap is on like that. All right, so I'm just going to zoom up here, just maybe around 1, just one time. I'm at 100% now. So just take any of these random spots, just kind of make sure your pen tool with shape is specified first, and we'll just click right around here. And then the amount, it's not entirely important. If you can eyeball it, that's sufficient. So I'm going to click right there, and then I'm just going to go up just 1 grid point to the diagonal. So if you hold shift, you can just click right there, and then maybe right around here. And then you want to come down, probably right around here, and we'll get this centered up afterwards. And then maybe bring this one right around here. So it's kind of like half the distance of this one. And then, maybe we'll come into over here. I don't know, just to make it different. And then make sure you have it, we get here to the same grid line, vertical grid line, and then just click right there. All right, so basically now what we want to do is, I'm going to zoom out here first, and I'm going to change the color just so I can see it. And then I'm going to duplicate it. So Control-Shift-D. I don't think that's a default hotkey. Just right-click and duplicate layer. And if you want to set that up yourself, you can always just go to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, and find where you need to go for like the panel menus. This would be for layers. You would scroll down right there, and then you would find duplicate, and then you could set that up. I always use Control-Shift and D for duplicate layers. All right, so that's what I will use from now on. So Control-Shift-D, just hit OK, go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, and then we just want to move this right into place, just right around there. So now that once you've done that, take the Direct Selection tool, and you'll see the little points that show up. And now what you want to do is take all of them and then hit Control-C, then just delete the layer entirely. And then with this layer selected, hit Control-V, and that will add it on to the same path. So they're all on its own path. Looking pretty good. Okay. So now what we want to do is also go ahead and kind of cut out this center portion. All right, so we'll take the rectangle tool. I'm going to zoom up once so I can just kind of see what's going on. And let me first hit Control T and then try to get these lined up evenly so that they're both along a vertical grid line. All right, so now what I want to do is take the rectangle tool, and I'm just kind of noting, where you want this basically to be even. So for me, it's 3 grid squares from the. Yeah, let me change this to black real quick. And if you just let it go, you can also adjust it, of course. So if you could hit Control T, drag that up, and that's in 3. I think I might want to pull this out. So if you hold Alt and just pull it out, you can adjust it like that, and I think that's pretty good. And select Move Tool, hit Apply. Take your Direct Selection tool. Make sure everything is selected. Hit Control C, and then just delete, and then hit Control V, and then you want to go to. One second here. If you click it, you'll find this subtract front shape. All right, so now let's get rid of the extras and also get rid of snap. And this is roughly what you should have come up with. Not that big of a deal if it's a little bit different. So if I hit Control 1, or rather zoom out here, this is what I have going so far. Just another thing that I want to do, I'm going to put kind of like a design down here. So I'm going to bring back the extras and snap this. And I want to create we'll pull this out with the rectangle tool, and I'll just select beneath this. And yeah, I'm just going to go just somewhere right around here along the bottom. And I'm just holding Alt and dragging this out. And I want to go right around here, I'd say. All right, so I'm also going to change this just to a slightly different color, just so I could see it. And then what I want to do is duplicate that. Control-Shift-D, and move this over here. All right, so let us get rid of the extras and the snap. And then we could take both of those, holding Shift, hit Control-T. Maybe right around there. All right. Okay, so now what I want to do is go ahead and, I think we can just merge those layers too, those two little things, those bars that we created, and just hit Control-E by selecting those. And I'll make it this color again real quick. All right, so now we want to get a metal texture. So that's linked in the description below this video here on YouTube, and that will bring you to this. And this is a free kind of metal texture. So if you just go click on download all sizes, you could click on the original. I think this should be big enough. We'll see. So just right click, copy image. And then what I want to do is Control-Shift-N for a new layer on top of this shape 1, which is basically this whole thing. And we'll call this metal. And then we'll also create a clipping mask, so make sure that is selected. Hit OK. Control-V to paste in. So now you can see we kind of have this metal texture working for us. I'm going to, before I do that though, I'm going to hide that. I'm going to double click on this shape 1 layer in order to get the layer styles dialog up. And I want to choose bevel and emboss. All right. So by default, this is what it looks like. And what I'm going to do is change the depth to be, pretty high. It's like 7 100% right there. And then I'm going to change this down here to 90 degrees so the light is coming directly from the top down. And then we can also adjust the size if we want. I have mine like around 3. And soften, we don't want that at all. All right. And for the gloss contour, I want to change it to ring right there. And you could experiment with these, you know, a lot of them, it really changes the appearance quite a bit. So the one I'm going to use is right here. All right, I may want to adjust the size after doing that just a tad bit. Yeah, maybe around there. It's around 5 now. And then we're going to do a color overlay. No, gradient overlay, sorry. And I'm going to try just leaving it at that and then hit OK. Now let's bring back the metal texture. Oh, and if this ever happens to you, like you turn on a texture, it's a clipping mask, and for some reason, whatever is inside the layer is not showing at all, it's because you have to change. With this selecting the blending options, you check this on and then uncheck that, and then just hit OK. All right, so now you can see we have that metal showing up. And we could really experiment with the layer blend modes using the down arrow key after selecting this. And we come up with a lot of really cool kind of appearances, basically. And I think I found, before starting this tutorial, that difference kind of works well. And that's due to the gradient, I believe. All right, so I'm going to leave it right there. And all right, so I also kind of want to work with these things down here. So what I'm going to do off the bat is just take right-click and copy layer style from our shape one. Let's also rename this to main UI. And then go ahead and right-click, paste layer style onto those. So that kind of doesn't look bad in and of itself, but we can make some adjustments. I think this needs to be pulled down for the size a little bit. So let me come up here, just push it up a little bit. Take the size, or maybe the depth rather. Yeah, you could see just taking that down to around 200 or 150, it gives us some interesting chrome situation looking there. And then we can also Control-Shift-N, create a new layer. We'll call this shadow, make it a clipping mask. Take our paintbrush and that way we create some, you know, making it a little bit more 3D in a sense. All right, so let me think what else I want to get started with. I think it would be, yeah, I'm going to take these 2 layers and then just duplicate them. I'm going to get rid of the shadow copy, and I'm also going to drag this beneath. I'll just call this thin bar. Thing bar, the hell. All right, thin bar. And if we just move this down, we have both of these. I want to get rid of this one. So we take the direct selection tool, select it, and of course it selects both of them. There we go. And just, if you ever want to do the view extras, the hotkey is Control-H. So yeah, we just want one of those, and it's going to be a tad bit thinner. So if you Control-T and hold Alt, and then just drag it in slightly. Now hit Control-T again, and we want to hold Alt and drag it beneath those. And you know, you could experiment maybe with the opacity, or maybe go back into the, you know, the bevel and emboss and change that around if you want. I'm going to leave it right around there for now. All right. Let's see here. What else do I want to do? We're going to create like kind of maybe 2 or 3 little circular light bulb LED things over here. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Just to fill it out. All right, so let me come to the top here, create a new layer, hold Shift, and I should have closed out Skype. Someone's messaging me. Oh well, no big deal. And if we take, let's say we'll just take this rectangle 1 copy, which I'll just call that thicker bar. Copy that layer style and then just paste it. It's not going to look right. Although that kind of makes it look like a bolt or something. That kind of looks cool. Well, whatever. Take bevel emboss and change this style from inner to outer. So it'll affect only the outer. Get rid of that gradient overlay. Yeah, I'm just experimenting a little bit. Maybe right around there. And we can experiment with these a little bit if we want to. I might leave it right around there. It's like 2. You don't want anything like too dramatic. All right, so something that looks like that basically. And then we will take this ellipse 1 and duplicate that again. And I'm going to hide any of the effects, and I'm just going to change the color here to like a blue color like that, and then hit Control T, Shift and Alt, and just scale it in a little bit. And sometimes it won't scale, like if you Control T and hold Shift maybe, and you can get it right in the center there. All right, so let's see what this looks like so far. Pretty cool. We can make some changes, so we can take the direct selection tool. If those outlines show up, hit Control H twice and it'll go away. And we could change the fill here to a gradient, radial, and one second, this is in my way. I usually work with this screen maximized at 1900 by 1200, but I'm recording these tutorials, so yeah, we'll go back to radial, flip this so that the white is inside, and then we could change that color picker right there to maybe a bright blue color. And yeah, hit OK. If you Control T, we could probably scale this up a little bit more, like right around there. And we can also add, like maybe to make it look like it's like a glass piece over this, we can add a reflection with the pen tool. So Control Shift N for a new layer. And we'll come out maybe right around here. Control H twice. All right. Cool. All right, so now let's go ahead and just like copy that and then duplicate it a few times. So if we take, I think it's just those 3 layers. So Control G, group them up. We can take our move tool with auto select group, and then we want to duplicate that layer. Control Shift D, and then Control Shift D, right around there. And then take all 3 of them, and if you want these to space, yeah, it's probably worth spacing them out evenly based on the width of this little corner thing there. All right. Okay, cool. Let's see here. I think this is going to be a good point to end today's tutorial, and we're going to basically tomorrow work with continuing on, adding on to this thing. And then I think the day after that, we'll start bringing this all into After Effects and create a really cool kind of just animation of this thing kind of just constructing itself possibly. All right, so check out designcourse.com if you haven't yet. I don't have any courses up yet, paid courses at least, but I have plans here to first release a visual identity course, hopefully within the next month or 2. And then from there, we'll see about doing possibly a really robust, modern front-end web design type course. And then I want to do also a user interface course. It's going to do stuff like this, but like on a just insanely complex and really, I guess you could say, comprehensive level. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't. It's always helpful when people subscribe, so that when I push out tutorials, a lot of people are able to see them and learn from them. All right, so I will see you tomorrow. All right, goodbye.